Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner Daily Technical Update. It is the 18th of November and today we'll have a look at the Semiconductor ETF representing the index, SOX index, so to speak. Here we have the daily on the left and we have the weekly on the right side. And what happened Friday was that the index opened and closed well below the support at 217.5. And there's no support until around 204. We are in a confirmed bearish trend that actually started a little bit ago, but you can see here lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, and lower low. And I think I should do a educational video about trend trading here fairly short here. It is on the way. On the weekly chart on the semiconductors, you can also see it formed what we call a diamond-like pattern. You can see it forms what it looks like, appears to be a diamond. It actually broke bearish out of it here Friday and closed below it. And there is now indication of it could move lower. The rule of thumb target is that if you take the peak of the diamond and down to the low valley here, and then you subtract it from the breakout price, which is around here, just below 225. So I'll say this is around this level here, below the 217. The actual breakout price is where it opened Friday, we have then an rule of thumb, it could drop all the way down to around 145, 150. However, there is support at 177 level, and also statistically, it only moves around 50 to 60% of the way after the breakout, and that is roughly around this level here. However, the RSI on weekly is still in a positive sentiment. It hasn't closed below 40. It did on the daily, so it is indicating lower levels in the coming days and weeks. But I think we're also moving into the NVIDIA earnings, and I think it is tomorrow. I have to confirm that later. But that could really change the complete picture or push it even lower. So that will be key. The S&P 500 was sold off heavily across the board Friday, 1.3% lower, reached the 50% retracement, which we talked about, 5,856 here pre-market. It is a little bit unchanged, and I think it will remain so during the day. Here we can see the dip to, that is the US 500 CFD. The Nasdaq got beaten even worse. It dropped all the way down to the 61.8 retracement here at 20,377. Dipped just a little bit below and closed just above. Still positive sentiment. There's no divergence. It could dip a little bit lower, but I think it will turn around again. NVIDIA is the big player here that could change something, and we can see here pre-market the Nasdaq is bouncing a little bit. If it can hold on, maybe that was the correction. It can crawl higher, but again, NVIDIA can really demolish that picture. The Dow Jones Index that formed the top and reversal pattern here in the bearish engulfing reached the 38.2 retracement at 43,400. Pre-market here is almost unchanged at the moment, but there's still a little bit of way to go. However, the RSI is still in positive sentiment, and there's no divergence indicating after a correction we could see higher levels, but it is still just an indication. In Europe, we saw this bottom reversal-like pattern on the EUROSTOXX 50 and most of the other indices. However, as I also alluded to, is that it is not the strongest bottom reversal pattern. I mean, it's a beautiful one, but we are not really. I don't think we will see it bouncing and continue up to a bullish trend, at least not just like that. And we can see that the RSI is still a negative. So there's some divergence indications of this pattern here, of this index here, and it really needs to get back about 4,900 to establish a bullish trend. If it takes out the 4,700, then it is likely to continue lower towards 46, 45.50, but the 47.32 could be key. Pre-market fairly unchanged, and DAX, moving on to DAX, also it needs to close below 19,000. It closed just above here the other day, last week, and that is key for a DAX to either be stay bullish or confirm a bearish trend. The Amsterdam index was beaten Friday, and if it moves below 858, if it closes below 858 or the low of the spike down there at 857 and a change, well, then the downtrend is still in full swing, and this bottom reversal has been cancelled. There is negative sentiment on the RSI indicating we are likely to see lower levels, and we are still in a bearish trend. And it really needs to get up above at least 890 for that to change. We could still see bounce up to there, but it looks fairly heavy. And that is, of course, also affected by ASML and the other semiconductor related stocks that they have in their index. The CAC 40 also bottom reversal, but it is in a downtrend, so, and I don't really think it will move back above the neckline here. That will be minimum requirement back above 7,500 to have a chance of establishing a bullish trend. And this shoulder head shoulder pattern is still emerging, with potential down to around 7,100, maybe lower. The Swiss market is in a confirmed bearish trend. You will see it actually cancelled this bottom reversal-like pattern, and I think it will push lower here in the coming days towards 11,400. Euro dollar is still trying to bounce, and maybe today could be a little bit successful. As we can see here, spike below 105, and the RSI is negative, in a negative sentiment. However, there is a little bit of divergence here. I think, yes, we do have divergence. These values here are higher than over here, indicating we are in a stretched downtrend, and I think we could still see a bounce up to around 106.65, the 38.2 retracement, but we are in a bearish trend. Now, looking at the weekly chart, we can also see what's actually going on. We are just above the support here at 104.48 that spiked down there back in October last year. But I think we'll see a correction fairly soon, but we are in a bearish trend also on the medium term. Confirmed one. Here we have cable sterling dollar also just on the weekly here, which is key. It is just above the 100 moving average on the weekly and above the cloud, still holding on. However, the RSI closed below 40 threshold, so it is indicating we could see lower levels. But let's see, also here back there last year, it also was below 40 threshold, but then it bounced back above. And on the daily, well, it's just around 126, dipped a little bit below. And I do think we will see a correction, possibly up to 127, 127.70. The euro sterling also crawling higher, and I think we will see it reaching 61.8 retracement at 83.76. Could go all the way up to test the upper rising trend line, but I'm not quite so sure about it. But it's not unlikely it will do that. So keep an eye on that. If it takes out 83.25, then I think it will resume downtrend. Yen pairs, some interesting moves. We had the exhaustive move here, and it seems, I mean, we have RSI divergence. You can see that the trend line is declining, and it is testing, dollar yen is testing the lower rising trend line here. And looking at the weekly chart, we can see that it almost reached the 786 retracement of the entire downtrend here we saw around Q3, where it then bounced and almost up to very close to the 786 retracement, spiking a little bit. And what is also key to notice is that the weekly RSI has been, for now at least, been rejected at 60 threshold, and if it can't close above, well, then expect the dollar yen to resume to a bearish trend. And if it takes out 151.45, excuse me, then I think that will be further confirmed. First indication could be that it breaks below the lower rising trend line there. If it takes out the spike up from Friday, well, then we could see a push towards 158, but I don't think that will occur. We have Euro Yen that has broken bearish out of this rising trend line in what could look like a rising wedge-like pattern, currently testing the 38.2 retracement of the entire uptrend here, and we are in a downtrend, lower low, lower high, lower low, but the RSI is still holding on above the 40 threshold, so that would be key here the next couple of days. Will it close below, a bounce back above? It's a trend line down here. If it does, it could be an indication that Euro Yen will push back above 165, but that is a key level to watch. If it breaks back above this spike up here at 165 and a change, well, then the uptrend could resume. The Aussie Yen 99 key supports still holding on in this slightly rising trend line here. It actually did close below Friday, this trend line here. So 99 is key, and then 98 also, and then if it takes out that, well, then we are really in a confirmed bearish trend. It needs to move back above Friday's high at 101.20 to try to resume a bullish trend again. The Sterling Yen trying to get back above 195.35, 37 here, where there's a little bit of resistance down. The RSI is still in a positive sentiment. There's no divergence, so it should actually push higher. So maybe just a correction, but if it starts taking out the 193.75 and dipping below the 55 moving average, the selling pressure could increase. Aussie dollar, I think we will see a rebound. We have RSI divergence, and it could rebound up to around 65.35, maybe even higher. But it needs to get its mojo back together, and if it can get above 65, then there could be further potential up to around 66. But we are in a bearish trend. It looks fairly heavy. If it takes out the lows from Friday here, 64.40, well, then it could dip lower to 64. The dollar Canada really on the move, a really strong uptrend despite having RSI divergence. You can see the values are not really confirming this, so indicating we are in a stretched mode of potential exhaustive, at least short term. We could see a little bit of correction. However, medium term, after breaking this ascending like triangle here, well, then there is potential up to 142.5, maybe even 145 on the medium term, meaning weeks from now. Positive sentiment on the weekly RSI is indicating likely higher levels, but do expect we could see a bit of a correction back lower. And just to give you an idea where we could see it to, I would say that, well, and it's not confirmed that we will see it, however, but it is a little bit stressed, so maybe we should have a little bit of correction down to around 140, and then maybe uptrend will resume. The uptrend is fairly strong despite this RSI divergence. Sterling Canada, well, 176.80 is the key level to hold. EURUSD dipped just this morning below 93.33 support. We can see that one here, but still holding on above it. Jump back, and also above this slightly rising trend line. RSI is still in above 40, meaning we are still undecided here. However, it was in a negative sentiment back here, and it remains so until it breaks back above and close back above 60 threshold. So I think we'll see a push lower, but still it is not confirmed. And Canada actually take out 93. That would be key. Dollar Swiss, expect a correction slightly. You can see it actually unfolding at the moment a little bit. Reached just below the 89 and a quarter up here. So expect a correction possibly down to 88. I will remove this one. It's not really strong. 88 and possibly lower, but you can see the RSI is still in positive sentiment, no divergence, indicating likely higher levels. So I don't think the the correction will be that big. The dollar index uptrend quite stretched. You can see the RSI didn't get all the way up to the previous peaks here, indicating we are in a short-term stretched or exhaustion mode. We could see a correction down to around 105.57, but then I think actually we will resume uptrend, and a weekly you can see what's going on with the it's just 107.05, really key strong resistance that it needs to take out for further upside. So expect a correction that could even be even larger than that. Gold bouncing from around the 25.46 support, which is 50% of the entire uptrend here, which is quite unusual. Normally I will see it dip down to the 61.8. However, the 100 moving average giving some support, and the cloud support also giving some support. However, the RSI is actually below 40 threshold. There's no divergence indicating lower levels, but I do think we will see a bounce up to possibly 26.33. Some resistance, of course, here around 2600, and we can see it always tested this morning, just a few dollars and cents from it. If it can get back above the 55 moving average and back above 26.35, then I think we will see a push up to the 61.8, just below 2700. Taking out the lows from last week here at 25.36, then expect a push down to around 24.79, 70 support level. The silver, well, dipped below the $30, but bounced, and I think we'll see a further bounce here. The 55 moving average is still rising, the 100 is the same, and we are back above it at the moment. If it can get back above 31, then I think we'll see a push up to 31.66 and actually also higher. But it will be a little bit of a struggle, to be honest. The first indication of that it could resume uptrend totally will be a break back above the falling trend line here, and it will be confirmed if it moves back above 60 threshold. The copper still holding on above $4 here. The can't really make its mind up. Should it push lower or should it bounce back? It bounced almost up to the 38.2 retracement. Key strong support here around 429, 430. That's really strong support. I think we could see a bounce up to there, but it will be a little bit of a struggle. So I actually will expect the next couple of days it will take it easy and just trading around this 405, 410 range here. But if it starts pushing higher, then expect that could try to get up to 430. Really not much to say on the crude oil. It dipped below the lower rising trend line here. It's not the strongest one. It's more like a guideline, I would say, in this case here. And testing the previous a little spike down there at 66.72, just below. If it takes it out once again, then I think we'll see the sell-off pushing lower. And if we just very quickly look at the weekly, we can see what's actually going on. Just adjust it a little bit to see we are in a bearish trend, but it is really holding on by the nails for not pushing towards 64 and lower. So for now, there's really a battle going on. Brent also bounced from its 70.72 support here. If it takes it out, that will once again, it actually dipped a few cents below. Then I think the lower low question mark here will be confirmed down to around 64.60 level. On the gas market, Dutch gas opened a little bit lower this morning, but starting to push higher again, and we are still in this slightly rising channel here on the weekly. So I expect higher gas prices on the medium term going into rest of November, December months. We have the US nat gas still in this triangle-like pattern here. It tried to break out of it, got beaten back down again, so that's really key. It really needs to get 302, so it needs to take out that. It was also 302 back here, so that's really key. 302 is key. US 10-year Treasury yields spiked Friday higher to spot on 4.5%, just spot on. Well, 4.499, so almost spot on. And that is really interesting that it did that. It spiked above its 448 resistance, and it spiked above the upper falling trend line. Actually closed slightly above it, but it is really, it's still too early to say that now it will go into a full bullish mode. However, it closed above the cloud, and the RSI also closed above 60 threshold, meaning that we are in a confirmed bullish trend with also positive sentiment and could push higher. But zooming in on the daily, I think that we should do that. We can see there is divergence on the RSI. The levels are declining here, so we should be in for a correction, but I don't expect it to be that big really. But if it drops below 425, well, then we could be looking at 414. But I don't think that will help. But a correction down here to around that level should be expected. But let's see if it can move back above 450. If it can move back above 450, well, then it can actually maybe cause some panic in the market, and it could push higher. The 2-year, a little bit stressed also here. You can see the declining RSI value, so we are stretched in the uptrend. Could see a correction lower to the 410, maybe 405. I'm not quite sure we'll dip, maybe also dip all the way down to 4%, where we have the 100 moving average. We are very quite stressed at the moment, just below the 200 moving average. The EuroBund future, EuroBund future, well, it is still in this range here between 131 and 132.75. That is key. If it takes out the lows here at 131.28 from the 14th of November, expect bearish trend to resume. If it takes out 132.75, expect a push up to 133.40, maybe that level. And finally, the Gilts, UK Gilts, that is still trying to bounce. The bottom reversal pattern still in place. Can't really make up his mind here, but we have now a bullish move here Friday, and it's pushing. No, it wasn't Friday, sorry, Thursday. Friday closed a little bit higher again. If it can get back above 94.47, well, then there's potential higher towards 95.30. Otherwise, it could try to take out the lows here. And still on the weekly, we can see we are in a bearish trend towards the 91 level. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day. Talk to you again.